Greetings, comrades. The organisers of this event gave me a very specific task: to unpick and unravel from a Marxist perspective within the space of a 10-minute film some of the myths and assumptions that underpin contemporary architectural practice, whilst at the same time giving pointers in an optimistic mood about how it might develop in the near future. So absolutely no problem then, really rather straightforward. Since the title of this particular session is Ideology in Practice, I thought it might be worth spending a couple of minutes unravelling and unpicking these two problematic words, about which Marxism, perhaps not surprisingly, has got an awful lot to say. Probably the most commonly understood definition of ideology is in reference to bodies of ideas and systems of belief that are shared by a particular social class or social movement. We are used to thinking of ideology in this positive and political sense as referring, for instance, to the worldview of the bourgeoisie that was famously made concrete in the construction of the institutions of the capitalist state. But equally, it can refer to the land and the building programs of socialist groups, of socialist movements that opposed the formation and development of the capitalist city. But ideology has also come to acquire a far more negative and critical sense that is firmly rooted in the works of Marx. This refers to bodies of ideas that somehow distort, camouflage or mask the nature of social reality. It is particularly useful for thinking about the history of architectural representation, which can never be more than a partial and disguised reading and representation of the real world. Perhaps the most important thing to understand is that, like it or not, we are all deeply ideological beings, and architecture and architectural practice persists in being relentlessly ideological. We do not live in a post-ideological world any more than we live in a post-capitalist world. And the idea that somehow we live in a situation characterised by the end of ideology, the subject I noted of a recent conference, is one of the most absurd and ridiculous things I have heard in a long, long time. As for practice, I like to think of it very much in terms of Marx's theory of labour, that lay at the heart of his analysis of capitalism and human history. The labour process, Marx argued, that is, the union of labour with the means of production, is the nature-imposed condition of all human existence. Indeed, outside of nature, there is very little of any significant value in this world that has not been produced by human labour. And it is human labour, in its abstract universal sense, as the